What's going on, everybody? This is Reaper and I am back with another video. Alright, well, first off, I just want to say thank you so much for everybody that actually gave me a humongous boost on my last video about old gen versus current gen. And I want to give a shout out to all my new subscribers and commenters. And thank you for all the comments. Thank you for the new subs. And today I'm going to give you some brief tips on how to survive best in Warzone. Okay, so I know everybody's been through this before, and I know everybody, you know, plays Warzone nonstop, and whether it be casuals or ranked and stuff like that. But I've been noticing a lot of hiccups in the last couple days of me playing this. And I got to admit, even though I am Master Prestige on both systems, I still have a challenge in this mode. So I still like playing this mode a lot. But a couple of the few tips that I will start giving players is make sure that you always scavenge around for cash. Cash is key in this mode, and you need to be able to basically buy a loadout for your custom guns as soon as possible. And then the other thing you need cash for is if you have to revive teammates. Now, reviving teammates is key, because if you want to stay alive in this mode and win, you gotta keep all your teammates standing. And that is something that I know a lot of casuals have a big problem with, because I'll be in matches and then I'll die and then I have to be revived, but my teammates take forever to revive me, and that is kind of one of those things that I would say that you really need to focus on. When you have at least 4,000 cash already in your wallet, go instantly to a buyout station and buy that person back. The other thing that I wanted to give a tip on is the guns you should be using. You shouldn't be using, plain gray guns. You shouldn't be using green guns. You shouldn't be using blue guns. You shouldn't be using purple guns. You shouldn't be using golden guns. You should be using red guns. And red guns are the absolutely powerhouse of this actual mode. And I have a Commando Black Cell and a Sniper, and they're both red. So, and you automatically can choose these guns in your loadout selection and so on and so forth. So, I'll leave that to you to figure out how to do. But if you're not using these guns, you won't stand a chance against, veteran players that actually, have better guns than you. So, you gotta make sure that your guns are top notch. You gotta make sure your guns can kill rather fast, and you gotta make sure that you customize them well enough to automatically, get the kill and move on with the match. And sometimes these people do knock you out, like in this situation right now. But one of the things that a lot of people have issues with is staying together as a team. And the other big tip that I would basically give to my users is that when you first parachute into the map, make sure you land in the center of the circle, wherever that circle might be on the map. Do not go to the far end of the map. Do not go to the near end of the map. Go to the direct center, because at the end of the match, that center is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, and the closer you are to the center, the more chance you have of surviving the longest. So, but if you just wander around the map outside the circle, you might be hunted down. You might be shot down. You might be killed by the gas that comes into the map as the map gets smaller. If you don't have a gas mask, so I would suggest that you catch up on those perks. And then the other thing that I would recommend is that you basically make sure that you basically always have a UAV handy if you have enough cash for it, because it will tell you where the other players around you are, and then you can hunt them down and shoot them down, and basically, slowly by little get the player count smaller and smaller and smaller. Now in this match I did not win, but I did get top 3 because the by the time the match was over, there was only 2 people on the enemy team left standing, and they did a nasty trick where they basically cornered us and basically shot us through a window. So that's how this match ends, is that the 2 players left standing basically cornered my entire team and basically shot them through the window where they didn't see them, and then boom, they're all dead. But to get to the top 3 people isn't actually that hard, and I've won a couple matches of Warzone already, so I think I actually do know what I'm talking about. But the winning a match takes teamwork, it takes concentration, it takes commitment, and it takes a lot of strategy depending on what you're going to be doing with your teammates during the match. But I suggest you always stay near the center. Make sure you always get to the loadout as fast as possible at the start of the match. So that means getting up to 10,000 cash, and then buying a loadout and then summoning it from the buy station, wherever that buy station might be. And then the other cool note that I'll give you is that if you don't want to buy a UAV, at least buy an airstrike, because at the end of the match, when there's very few players left, you can wipe all those players out with one hit of that airstrike, and that is actually really, really useful to do. But the thing that I see a lot of people struggling with is not being able to find enough cash in enough time to get all those things required, and that really requires a lot of scavenging. People, you got to be going in and out of buildings, you got to be checking everything, you gotta make sure that your cash is well up there, because in certain situations when your entire team is dead and they don't have a gulag no more, which is the place you go to after you die to be respawned, if the gulag is disabled, then you have to buy them all back, and if you don't have at least 15,000 to actually buy them back, then you're basically stuck on the map all by yourself, and that basically also really, really does suck. So you got to make sure that you have enough cash ready on hand in case your teammates fall out and you have to bring them all back at the very end of the situation. And see, in this situation where the gas is closing in and we're on top, that's where we get screwed, because the people that we were looking for were actually below us and we did not know it. So you always have to be aware of where everybody might be, so you actually understand what to do. And in a situation like this where the circle kept getting the smallest and stuff like that, you got to make sure that you at least have a UAV to basically tell where the other people are. But other than that, I think that is pretty much what I was going to give advice on. This mode is the best mode in gaming, so I love this mode to death, and this mode is the main reason why I'm level 161 on Xbox and level 60 on PlayStation. So I have 2 Master Prestige tags. It took me from November to April to make sure that both tags were Master Prestige, and now all I have to do is just basically farm noobs all day, which is kind of fun. But other than that, that's basically what I would say. But overall, it just takes practice, people. It just takes a lot of repetition and a lot of experience in these matches to understand how the matches work and how to best basically win the match, or basically get into the top 5 so you get the most XP, so on and so forth. And these matches are filled with both players and bots, and you'll always know the difference between a bot and a player, because a bot is very easily wiped out, whereas a player actually puts up a fight, and you actually have to basically maneuver yourself around them in order to actually not get shot. So I think that's actually also a really good thing. But you know, to be perfectly honest, I don't think that's a big problem. But, you know, so for some people it is, but that's just me. But, you know, those are my tips for this Warzone spot. But I hope everybody enjoyed it. See, we lost, but you know, we got to top 3, so that was pretty cool. But I hope everybody found these tips useful. Again, thank you so much for the big boost on my last video, and thank you so much for the new subs. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys all keep watching and keep enjoying my content. And I will catch you guys on the next one later.